Hey guys, so today I'm going to film a really highly requested video, which is basically me showing you guys my portfolio and the portfolio that got me an interview at the Ruskin School of Art. A lot of you have been asking what kind of work they look for, what's requested in a portfolio for Oxford, and hopefully this video will help you understand or will help produce a clearer picture on what it is that they're interested in. Obviously, this is not a perfect example. I'm just going to be going through my portfolio and just talking about the art pieces that I submitted to the Ruskin and hopefully giving you guys a clearer picture of what it is that they possibly look for. So for my first page, I decided to include something really colorful, really bright, really eye-catching in my opinion, and so I decided to use my Skull expressive color pencil study. Basically, I used square pieces of paper and I created some expressive styled skull studies using color pencils. The title is pretty self-explanatory, but that's basically what I did, and I did it by initially taking pictures of the skull in our art classroom from different angles and then recreating it with color pencils. And I showed the original pictures in my portfolio as well, just to show the whole process. And I don't know, I think this was a pretty good first page art piece, just because it's colorful skulls. Why, I don't know, but it worked, I guess.
Hi, sorry, I just want to quickly apologize for the fact that I keep looking down. It's just I'm looking at my portfolio, which is on my laptop. And also, there are cardboard boxes behind me. That's because we're moving soon. So please ignore that if you can. Other than that, thanks for watching if you still are. I appreciate you. But yeah, that's all I had to say.
For my second page, I just continued with the whole skull skeleton concept, and there is just a range of sketches of the skeleton, and I used acrylic paint, I used different mediums, collage, paper cutting, and also just using the paper cutted skeleton and just creating a shadow of that. I don't know, it just looked cool, so I just decided to include it. As you can see, I use very little text. I mean, most of the text is on my sketchbook, and therefore it's within the picture. But in some other art pieces, I used very, very minimal text to explain it. That's just because most of the things that you would want to include is what you will say in your interview. So it's just useless saying the same thing multiple times, so I just decided not to put it, and then if they ask me about it, if they're interested in it, I'll just explain to them the whole purpose behind it. Here, I mean, it's just me combining an art piece by a famous artist with my whole skeleton skull concept and just combining the two. I don't know, I'm not that big of a fan. I mean, this was GCSE work, so it's quite long ago, but I still included it just to show what inspired me at the time and why. Actually, I don't know why I included that, but I'm pretty sure I had a reason at the time. So here I start to move on from the whole skeleton concept into more of a still life sort of animal theme. I'm not exactly sure, but basically what I do know is I found a dead crab at the beach and decided to take a picture of it. Not creepy at all, I know. But I surrounded it with shells and then I took a picture of it. I then created a color pencil study of it and created some paper cutout design. So I cut it out in these like small dainty shapes, and I kind of related that somehow to the whole skull and skeleton, that how delicate human bones are and that whole thing. I don't know exactly how I did it. It was a lot smoother than how I just said, but it kind of worked. I mean, I guess it just did. And then I basically spray painted over it and it created this interesting art piece that I ended up going with. I just most of the time I just end up rolling with things that I accidentally produce. I mean, that's the fun of art. You just accidentally create something amazing. So this piece I absolutely hate. I mean, I don't even know why I included it. Look at the hair. It's just one solid color. I think it's actually unfinished, but I think I was just stressing. I didn't know what else to include, and I just wanted to show my ability to explore with different equipment. So here I use an iPad and I tried out graphic design, that whole thing, which clearly I'm really not good at the minute, but I'm gonna learn. So this page is basically just random sketches I made with a plain pencil, and there are sketches from different themes that I did throughout my years of school, and some of them are actually personal pictures that I did outside of the whole GCSE or IB program, and it's just my ability to, I don't know, sketch stuff. So obviously I wanted my pages to connect, so I either connect them with the same theme or same style, and for this I just connected because I also used HB pencils. Also, it's still life, so this is actually back from my GCSE times, back in the olden days. But these were just some still life studies of toothbrushes. This was actually for my GCSE theme, which was routines. I specifically focused on morning routines. For this one, I just did just simple pencil sketches of toothbrushes, and I took the pictures myself. And then moving on, this was my final piece from that entire theme, morning routines. And I couldn't put it the right way up, so it's sideways. Sorry about that, but it's A1. It was massive, and I just used color pencils for that. As you can see, I'm actually obsessed with color pencils. It's actually not okay anymore, but it's okay, we'll roll with it. So I just focused on the whole structural feeling of a routine, and it's all lined up, it's all stacked up like shelves, and I used a dental theme for the colors, for the background, and everything else. And yeah, this took me so long, and I just decided to put it in my portfolio just to show my appreciation for detail in an artwork, and obviously my interest in the whole realistic style. I loved realism. I think there's just something so satisfying about it not being a photograph, but making it look as realistic as possible to real life. I don't know. This, again, it links to my previous one just because of the whole still life theme. Here I just used stuff that I found in my kitchen. So for this piece, it was just an A4, nothing exciting, nothing big. It was an acrylic painting, and basically I just took my own picture of the knife, the tomatoes that I positioned myself, and I wanted to emphasize the whole idea of contrasting here. So the contrast between the bright red and the gray, but also the contrast between the circular shapes and the harsh slices of the paper, and also the harsh diagonal line of the knife. And it's just quite a surreal picture just because of the whole slicing, as if the knife from the picture sliced the painting itself. I don't know, I like the idea. I don't know about it anymore, but back in the day, it seemed cool. So for this one, it's just obviously continuing with the whole still life theme, the still life unit that I had in the IB program, and the theme for this was water. So I just took my own pictures of me pouring water in a cup or a glass, and just recreated it with paint and made it as realistic as possible. Nothing too interesting about that, nothing too creative, but I just included it for fun. This piece I actually hate as well. It's so disappointing. I don't know, I just included this to show my ability to Photoshop, although it's more of a disability. As you can see, it's horrible photoshopping. The only thing I knew how to do was invert colors and copy and paste an image, but somehow it worked out after a lot of irritation from not being able to use Photoshop. I don't know what happened there, but I create something. Just include what you think shows your willingness to experiment and play around, whether it's on paper, on Photoshop, anywhere, it doesn't matter, as long as you show that you're interested in experimenting with different things and you're not scared of doing that. The original photograph that I took of the nail polish, which actually links back to my whole GCSE theme, which was the morning routines theme, and I chose to reflect back on it during my IB years, and I actually am really happy that I did that, just because it now makes my final portfolio flow so much better. So here I just used a scraper board, and I never used this before in my life, but once I got the hang of it, it was actually the most satisfying thing to do. It's basically a black board, and you just scrape away and it becomes white. So the area that you scrape becomes white, and you create a picture based on what you scrape. So it was like working backwards, but in a way it was so much more interesting because I have never done this before, and I just played around with the whole black and white tone. So the next page is actually a range of work that I produced during my summer art courses. So some of these were from the Botanical course at Oxford, some of them were from the Central St. Martin's course that I took. And I just mainly focused on the theme flowers, just because I took the Botanical course, and after that I was inspired to continue working with the whole Botanical theme, which worked out really well in the end because, again, I could keep, linking my art pieces together in my portfolio. This is actually just a random study that I did of a hydrangea flower with just simple ink pen, and I just included it because I thought it looked pretty fun, pretty interesting, just because I used a pen, like nothing else. It's not even that exciting, but it just looks so realistic from afar. Up close, it looks like tiny scribbles, which is what it actually is, but from like quite a distance, it looks pretty realistic. So I just thought, why not add that? It looks pretty cool to me, so why not? This one is actually one of my most favorite pieces. I really wanted to bring this to the interview, but because it's 3D and massive, literally massive, I'm not joking, it would have been a pain. So I was like, I'm so good, thank you. I called it Rotting Flowers. I know, so creative, so unique, but I just explained my whole process here, the whole how I create the texture for the background, how I combined painting and sculpting together for one piece, and my inspiration from one of Valerie Hegarty's art pieces. And I basically used real life things like branches, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I used fake moss for the frame. I actually created the frame out of cardboard. It was a pain, I'm not gonna lie, but at the end of the day, I really, really liked this piece. All the flowers I painted myself. It was just something. It was something different. I never done anything like that before. This one, it's alright. It's not the best, but it was basically an Elton John inspired painting. Um, it's kind of 3D because I made the cardboard figures of Elton John like come out of the painting of the piano, and yeah, it's just, as I said, there is to celebrate Elton John's love for music and also explore his iconic suits. Nothing personal, that's why it's not that great. But I don't know. As you can probably tell, the first Elton John I painted, which is the worst looking one, is the one in the purple. Look at his face; it looks like a lion. I'm not gonna lie; it looks like an animal. But you know what? I tried. This piece was just to show my interest in surrealism, and I don't know. It was just pictures that I took of my cousin. So I printed a bunch of photos of her photographs and just played around with the whole composition, the structure, everything like that. And once I liked my composition plan, I ended up painting it, and this is how it turned out. I don't know, I was like, I really liked it when I just made it, but now that I look back at it, I'm sorry, what the hell is this? Look at the hair. Like, I am so bad at hair. I need to really practice on that. So as you can see, it's still kind of still life, human form exploration. We had actual models coming into our school, and we could just draw them, and this was me showing that. So from the 5-minute sketches that we had to sketch that model in real life, I then went on and created more detailed paintings inspired by the positions that I had time to sketch. The next page just shows more human body exploration and my ability to experiment with different mediums. I don't know, watercolors, crayons, oil pastel, color pencil and paint together, and then again graphic illustration on iPad. And for my final page of my portfolio, I decided to finish with the whole human body theme, specifically focusing on the female body. I explained a little why I did that. I'm not going to really go into detail here, but this is basically what my last page was. It's a triptych, so yeah, and I just used the color green to emphasize the emotion that these women are portraying. And that's basically my last page for my portfolio. So that was basically my entire portfolio. I hope it kind of gave you a better idea of what you can submit, what is expected of you. So basically exploring different mediums, your willingness to experiment with different things, different forms of art, sculpting, photography, painting, not just, practicing acrylic paint, the entire portfolio, but actually show a range of work. I don't want to give away too much information on the requirements of the portfolio just because I'm scared I'll say something wrong, but all the crucial information is on the Oxford website anyway, so anyone can always check that out. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to show. Thank you all so much for watching, and good luck to all of you who are planning on applying this year or years to come, and I wish you all the best.